Let's install board drivers for the Arduino Portenta. To do that, we have the Arduino IDE open. So go over to the boards manager and open it and search for Portenta. Hit enter, and we have the Arduino Embed OS Portenta boards, and that's what you want to install. I already have a version 4.0.6 installed, and I can update. If you don't have anything, then just click on install, and there you have it. Let's create an AccuWeather app. You'll need a browser for this. I already have a browser open. And then you need to browse to developer.AccuWeather.com. If you don't have an account, you'll need to register. I have an account, so I'll go ahead and log in. Once you're logged in, you can go to My Apps. I already have an app, but I'll show you how to add a new app. So click on that button, and then you can go ahead and fill in all of the details. Under products, choose the core weather limited trial. So just leave it as that if it's the default. Under where will the API be used, choose other. And in this section, what will you be creating with this app? Choose internal app. For what programming language is your app written in? Choose C++. And here, use business to consumer. Leave the setting here on the worldwide. And what is the public launch date? You can leave it as the current date. And then just go ahead and click on Create App to get started. And that's it. We're done. Let's get the API key for the application that we created. Ensure that you're logged into the AccuWeather API, and then click on the My Apps. And you'll have all of your applications listed. You can see mine is listed here, and then simply click on it. And as long as you're on the Keys tab, your API key is down here. And that's it. You can copy it out and make use of it whenever you need to. Let's set the intensity of the onboard LED of a Portenta with an Ethernet shield. I have the Arduino IDE open with the sketch. The first 4 lines are the includes for our libraries. And then lines 6 and 7 are for us to set our delay. And this delay is so that we don't make too many API calls to the AccuWeather API server. On line 9, we specify the URI or URL of the server that we'll be calling, and that's the API service. And then on line 10, we create an instance of the Ethernet client. Our setup starts on line 12, where we set the pin mode of the red LED to output. That will let us control and write to that pin. And then on line 14, we set our serial baud rate. On line 15, we check whether we're able to initialize the Ethernet controller, and that basically lets us know whether or not we have the shield attached. If there's an error, then we print that out on line 16, and we carry out some additional debugging. Otherwise, we print out the IP address that the shield got, and then we wait a second and then we print out ready. And that lets us know that we're ready to start making API calls. Our loop starts from line 32, and on line 33, we check for the specific interval that we set so that we can make calls to the API service. On line 36, we stop our Ethernet client, and we need to do this so that we can avoid making multiple connections on the same client. And then on line 38, we attempt a connection to that API service on port 80. If that works out, we go ahead and call the specific endpoint that we're interested in, and that happens on line 39 all the way to line 42. On line 45, we check to see whether there was a response from the server. And if there was a response, then from line 49, we start to parse that response. First thing we do is we check whether our response is undefined, in which case we know that we're unable to parse the API response. Otherwise, we check for the length of the response. The response is supposed to be an array, so we check for the length of that array. And then we go in and we start checking for certain objects, such as temperature, and then metric, and then value. And then we can compute the value that we're getting back, and then the intensity that we want to set. So we want to set an intensity on a scale from 0 to 255 based on the temperature that we're getting. And that's all there is to this. So let's connect our microcontroller, upload our sketch, and give it a go. Our upload is complete, so we can go ahead and open our serial monitor, and we see ready. So ready shows us that our device has got a connection to the network. And that's it, really. Feel free to download the sketch, go through it, and you can log some output to your console. Thank you.